guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Appa, in case you're new to my channel, and this is, I don't know what number it is of the episode, but it is some episode number, and today I want to talk about finances. I have been getting a lot of questions about finances in general, about scholarships and stuff like that. So I went ahead and I talked to a friend of mine who is a US citizen, and these are kind of suggestions and answers to your questions that I have based on me interviewing him. And you guys, one thing which I do want to point out is that a lot of these schools where you do find like a graduate entry nursing programs, especially the NP focused one, because that is what I'm considering. So I would say my school is a little bit up. It's not quite Ivy League, but it's still kind of high up there. Like it competes with some Ivy League schools in terms of, you know, the, similar programs. So, you know, just because a school is Ivy League or like high up there doesn't always mean that they provide the best out of best. I mean, I know we have like the idea of like, you know, Ivy Leagues higher, you know, harder to get in, so you have to be the best of best. But going to a school like that, like I went to a really small school for undergrad, and I think I got a really good education. I don't have any complaints about it. So just because, you know, some of these schools are like a little bit competitive or like kind of are the Ivy League kinds, you know, the tuition rate is very, very high. Do they offer scholarships? Yes, they do, but it just really, really depends. So one thing which I do want to say about professional schools in general, whether it's nursing, medicine, dentist, whatever, you guys, chances are you're not gonna get financial aid, okay? And very few schools will give you financial aid, but most schools, especially for healthcare professionals, will not give you financial aid. Not a lot anyways, and you will mainly rely on loans. So with my particular program, we have a set rate. So doesn't matter if you take you know, one less class or whatever, get something transferred, you are paying the same amount. Now when it comes to scholarships, there were very, very limited number of scholarships, you guys, and I think most of it went to either the MSN students or like the medical students. Like, so it was like a scholarship for the whole health science department, and it wasn't just for my program. So I think most of it went to like, you know, medical student, dentistry, and actual nurse practitioner students, and not the graduate entry nursing student, if that makes any sense. Because even if my goal is to become a nurse practitioner within this program or throughout the next 3 years, I am still in the pre-licensure stage because I don't have my RN license. I have not taken the NCLEX. I will be taking the NCLEX, not this summer, but the summer of 2020. So that just happens to be the situation. You might get emails and stuff from your school to apply for this scholarship, but it's only like $2,000 or $3,000, and that is like nothing, you guys. Like I think every year, at least from what I have calculated with my particular program for the first 2 years, it's about $100,000, which I know it's crazy, and obviously you got to take loans to, like, you know, pay for it. When I was talking to like medical students and like dentistry, like, oh my gosh, their rate is even more expensive. Like for medical students, it's like $65,000 a year, which I think is kind of insane. And then for dentistry, it's like a little bit over that, like about 80,000 or 90 even per year, which I know sounds really crazy, but sometimes if once you get into grad school, especially like I said, one of these Ivy League ones, which are kind of giving you like a lot of clinical hours, you just have to go with it. And these programs are credited, you guys, so I don't really, sometimes I do think about like the money aspect, like is it really worth that much money? But at the same time, I don't think I would be getting 1,000 plus hours of clinicals if I was to go to, I don't know, some other school. So it like really just depends. Whatever is in your plate, you just kind of have to, you know, make use of whatever you have in front of you. And when it just comes to professional school, honestly, you guys, you just become desperate. Like if a school takes you, you just pick the school. You can't necessarily be picky. At least in my situation, I couldn't necessarily be picky, and I just had to, you know, obviously, like I had been thinking about how I was gonna pay for it before I started this program. So you know, like I am taking loans. Like my family is helping me take the loans, and I have this agreement with my mom and dad that I will like pay them back. And a lot of people in my program, you know, kind of have that. Like they have parents who are helping them, you know, pay for rent and stuff, because obviously living in Cleveland, it is a lot pricier. I mean, it's not as pricey as like LA, New York, but it's still pricey for like standard Midwest, I would say. So it is expensive, and you just kind of have to take loans. Honestly, like I said, there's you know, like smaller scholarships they have, but it's like very, very limited. Sometimes they're based off of like your ethnic background. Sometimes they're based off like, you know, like your financial situation, like FAFSA and stuff. Like you're gonna have to file all of that type of stuff, I'm sure. But from my understanding, most people in my program are taking loans. So I know that wasn't really very specific, but I just like don't know what else to tell you guys. Like it's just how it is with like professional school, unfortunately. And sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have just done my undergrad in nursing, but and I honestly would have saved a lot of money, but at the same time, I am getting my end goal in this program, even though it's a little bit pricey. But yeah, that is what I had to tell you guys. And another thing, just like living in a big city, like how to manage money and stuff, you just try to use like more public transport. Like I think, especially like going to the university, like try to live close by, and try to, you know, figure out if they have good public transport or not. Trust me, you guys, this is going to help you for clinicals. This is going to help you for going to school. Like so the parking spot that I got from the school, which was about like a mile away from like the School of Nursing, which is crazy, and I was paying $350. And then after a month, I went in, I gave my parking pass back. I was like, I am not paying $350 per semester just to park when a bus directly drops me behind the School of Medicine, which is kind of like attached to the School of Nursing. And I could just walk. Like I literally make use of the public transport like all the time. I use it for clinicals now too, because I requested them to place me at the hospital, which is close to the university, and it's also a teaching hospital. So the environment there is a little bit different than the other hospital that I was at last semester. So I specifically requested them, please place me at this, because I, you know, like, not that I don't have a car, like now I have a car, but it's more for like my safety in terms of like going to the store and stuff, because like, you know, like I've mentioned, like safety is a problem in this part of this in the city in general, honestly. I mean, there's certain parts where it's fine, but most of it is kind of, not good. So for my personal safety, like, me being a single female living by myself a little further away from the university, like, I feel like everyone else in my program, they kind of like live around each other, because some of them do walk to school and I don't. Like, I just take the bus, and I don't think I would want to live that close to the university too. Like, I didn't really like that area, and I've kind of already been feeling a little out of place. So like sorry, I just like burned myself. Placing myself in like some of those areas and then making the adjustment, I just didn't think I could do it. Like, I visited, obviously before. So like for my mental state, I kind of just prefer like living a little bit, like I live like a mile and a half away, which is like not terrible, but yeah, for my own mental state and like not being around like hardcore city area, I just needed to be in a suburb. So that's probably why I really chose this area, and the rent is okay, and I also didn't want a roommate. Not because I don't want to like save money. It's just like I've had issues in the past with roommates, and I just didn't want to deal with that in grad school, to be honest. So it's okay price, and I'm making it work. So public transport is my go-to. Like, I do not drive to school. The only time I'll drive is when I attend the school gym, and I get free parking for like 3 to 4 hours. So that's the only time I will really drive, or like going to the store and stuff. So I'm actually saving a lot of gas money, like, believe it or not. The bus pass, at least here in the Cleveland region, if you're like a student at any university, it is about well, I think at private schools it's like $75 per semester, but like at some state schools it might even be free. So like, just make use of that. Like, try to be in areas where you can like take public transport and not have to pay for parking. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, paying that much is just ridiculous, especially if you're like moving to another city. That is like my suggestion. I mean, like, if you already stay in that city that you're planning to go to school to, then this wouldn't really matter to you. But yeah, that's my suggestion. And then obviously like going to stores like Aldi's or like Trader Joe's, which are like a little bit more affordable for your grocery shopping. Doing a lot of research on those aspects of things, would help you save money. But like, definitely for me, public transport was a good one. I know when it comes to textbooks, I just have my textbooks, you guys. I try not to rent some of them, because some of them you kind of just need the whole year. I know some people in my program, like, they do like the digital, like they can have digital textbooks. Like, if they have a free PDF from somewhere, they'll like share it with everybody. I have tried using that, but it just doesn't really like work for me. Like, I am just one of those people who has to look at a textbook in order to like have the physical textbook anyways, or like a copy of the textbook or something like physically around me in order for anything to go in my head. And I feel like some of those textbooks, like especially like fundamentals of nursing and pathophysiology, like I feel like that I would need those textbooks for the NCLEX. So that's just my opinion. You guys might find a lot of people sharing textbooks, and you can do that. I'm just one of those people who just likes having, a physical copy. So I do have a budget for my textbooks, and I do, order them ahead of time. Sometimes I'll look into eBay, because eBay will have better deals, but most of the time it's either Amazon or Chegg, especially when I just think that if it's not like an NCLEX class, I just rent it. But if it's an NCLEX class, then I buy them because I'm like, well, I kind of need this for my license. So this would just hopefully help you a little bit, like decide like what textbooks you should get and what textbooks you shouldn't. So I hope this video was somewhat helpful. I think that I should do a live video chat with you guys. Let me know if you guys would be interested in it, because I have been getting additional questions about this program. In general, I think there's just like a lot of confusion. Even after me doing these videos, there seems to be a lot of confusion. So just to like clarify things, just to answer your questions, like I would be willing to do that. I do have a couple of exams coming up here in February, so it would have to be like the third or the fourth week of February. I can't speak. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, you guys, and talk to you guys later.